Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new segment of Face to Face. So today we'll be discussing about Uganda, mainly the elections in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, I invited this man because not only he lived in Uganda, but because he was raised there, so he must know. I knew he must know, and he has also somebody who has been following politics and Ugandan stuff, so I knew he was the right man, the perfect man to bring him and to bring and discuss with him. Today I am with Bashil. Bashil, welcome to Congo TV.
Well found. My name is Bashil Kembele once again. I'm so glad to be here. This is my first time to do interviews and to be on Congo to interviews. So every single day I've been looking for you and I couldn't get you. But I'm so glad that finally I got you because I wanted to have interviews with you discussing about certain issues as far as the world is concerned today.
Awesome.
All right.
Great. It's good to have you here. So, you know, I say before you watch Face to Face, it's great if you get a drink you put aside and you start drinking and watch this segment in peace. Uganda is set. So Uganda is set to have election on the 14th.
Yes.
In March next year. Yeah. Not in March, in January next year. Yeah. But the campaign already has started with violence.
Yeah.
The opposition are saying the leadership in place are restricting them to campaign and lying about COVID-19.
Yeah.
What do you think the problem is there?
Well, we know COVID-19 is a very deadly disease. And for real, our viewers there, whenever you're in a crowd of people, please don't forget to put on your mask. Always use sanitizers and do other procedures as you've been told. But in Uganda, I can say it's not COVID. I mean, it's not COVID as a sickness. There are two kinds of COVIDs in Uganda.
What is it?
COVID as economy, COVID as politics, then COVID, which is real.
Pandemics.
So the pandemics, I can say, in Uganda now, COVID is being used as an excuse for politicians, and most of politicians, mostly the corrupt ones, they are using COVID as an excuse, I mean, to take billions and billions of money. So this is hurting Ugandans as well. So when the government comes up, the ruling party, when it comes up and say, no, we have procedures which we're gonna use in these campaigns.
Yeah.
But at first, remember, the parliament had to sit down and said, you know, since COVID-19 is an emergency and has come by emergency and we were supposed to vote, but now the pandemic has come in.
You cannot compare.
Is it any way we could postpone the elections? We should first fight the COVID-19 because it's going to be an excuse.
Opposition said no.
But well, the ruling government said no. They said we should follow the constitution. But the constitution talks about the emergency stuff.
Oh, so the opposition proposed to the postponing of the election?
Yeah, the oppositions.
Wow.
Postponing of the election maybe after 6 months or after one couple years to fight the pandemic. But the ruling government, they knew the opposition nowadays, there are so many people who are trying to oppose the government.
But look, wasn't that just a risk? Look, you tell them to postpone the election. You don't know when the COVID-19 is going to end. COVID-19 might take years, might take, you know, maybe not just months, but it might take more than 5 years, it might take 10 years because we don't even have a vaccine. Wasn't that a high risk they took to ask them?
At least the proposal was to reduce, at least to fight the COVID-19 for 6 months.
Yeah.
Where things failed, they should have, by 6 months, they should have found a new vaccine or any other solution to fight COVID-19. Yeah. But why did the government say no? Because they knew in this COVID-19, they will use it as an excuse for these opposition leaders.
To restrict them from campaigning?
Yes, that's the whole thing. And that's what the whole mess is happening today in these campaigns. Opposition leaders, they are being treated so violent. So, for example, Bobi Wine is saying he used to communicate with the people through music, and now his music has been restricted to be played on a lot of radios. So he doesn't have access to as much people as he's supposed to, and now
cannot campaign physically, like he cannot organize rallies and stuff. So what do you think the current government is scared of? Does he scared of this?
Well, he's scared because, you know, the first thing is the government used to keep these people in a blanket, you know, covering you with a blanket. When you're covered with a blanket, sometimes you may not know what's happening outside because you're already sleepy.
Okay.
These people were sleepy. They didn't know more information about what the government is doing. Like, usually, most of the Ugandans, they don't know their constitution. Most of the Ugandans, they don't care about what is happening, like embezzling funds, taking people's money. Like, they don't know what's going on. They don't even care.
Right.
So when Bobi Wine came up, he started wakening them up, and the government doesn't. I mean, it doesn't need Bobi Wine to tell that. I mean, such a stuff. You rather tell lies than telling the truth. That's what the government believes. So Bobi Wine is being an enemy to President Museveni because of that.
But how did Bobi Wine raise up so quickly? I mean,
well, you know, in politics, when you guys are politician and any other person outside who want to be a politician, be scared of one thing. Among the things you should be scared is the music. We have so many revolutionary musicians. Look at Jamaica. Has been raised by Bob Marley and the other musicians who raised up during the revolution of the slaves in those past back years. Look at this Lucky Dube in South Africa. Has been singing revolutionary music.
It's very easy to pass your message.
Yeah, it's easy to pass a message whenever you make a good music and people listen and when you have fans. So Bobi Wine is not an international musician, but he is known in Uganda as a musician who plays reggae. At first, he was known as someone who takes like marijuana or any cocaine or any other thing.
I mean, even his hairstyle looked...
Hairstyles, you know, when you look at the past events of Bobi Wine by that time, it was so like, you may not even think. But when you listen to his music, he only plays his music in Uganda, so he composes them in Uganda, so sometimes they may not be understandable, but the Ugandans understand. The message in there is always attaching to people's heart. It's always attached to things that are hurting Ugandans. So when such a messages keep on hurting Ugandans,
it has an impact on them.
So it has a big impact on people, and that's why people are coming up to support him of what he's doing.
So he's probably doing the music in, like you said, most of the Ugandans don't know their constitutions.
Yeah.
So that means probably it's not the majority of the population that's educated. That means not everybody understands English. That's probably, I think, when you're using your local language, anybody will understand, even those in villages. So that's probably why he was using his language for music.
That's
don't you think?
Not an excuse.
Because it's not that he doesn't speak English. He can speak very good English.
United States, there are some people I believe who doesn't know constitution.
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah.
But what I believe in, the government has tried its level best to implement laws to people. And the government is doing that. And most people, at least, they know what the laws are. And most of the Americans, they went to school. They know at least what's going on. And they have good technology. I can say that. But in Uganda, most people, I'm going to tell you, like the government has free education for primary section.
Okay.
The government has free education for secondary section.
Okay.
But it has some scholarships it gives to some people. We shall discuss about that too.
Okay.
To the universities.
Yeah.
But so
in Uganda,
I can say illiteracy in Uganda is not bad.
Okay.
That's what the government is forgetting. So these people, the group of youth who have just come up, they are seeing what is bad in Uganda. And they don't have jobs. The government, every single term, they keep on promising in their manifestos, we shall create millions and millions of jobs. But when the term is ending, no job created. So many people have graduated, so many people have finished schools, no jobs have been done for them. And they're seeing people are just embezzling the funds, people are just moving with the money. So this generation, they went to school, so they have come up, they're saying, no, this is not the right way this country should move. So I can tell you the thing is, even with the education part of it, you talked about illiteracy, I'm answering you now.
Yeah.
So illiteracy in Uganda is not there, I can say. The illiteracy I can say is for those people who started, I mean, during those ages.
Or let's say the percentage of illiteracy is very low. It's not very
because
high.
almost Uganda has 85% of youth right now. They are the youth. Most of them, at least like 75%, they are educated.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is no more well, the problem is they are not professionals. It's like someone who has just done with high school. Is he professional in any, is he specialized in anything?
No.
He has to go to the university.
Yeah.
So that's where the mess is. These people have finished the high schools and the primary sections. They can go to college.
That's probably because your dad don't make enough to take you there.
The dad don't make enough to take them there.
The
government scholarships is giving them to known people. For you to get a scholarship, you should be a son of someone.
Yeah, you have to have connections.
A daughter of someone.
Connections.
You have to have the connections. You have to put in this and this money.
Yeah.
Do that.
Corruption.
So all those rotationals, all those stuff, it makes it hard for education. That's why most of people are high school graduates.
And
the university people are just limited.
Yeah.
Like 20%, I mean, 45% are university graduates, and those are for the rich people. But the most youth are not, I mean, graduates yet. They're just high school people. After there, they just go get married, find jobs, I mean, create their own jobs. And I mean, the government, I can say the government, today, the government, I mean, Ugandans have been considered the most entrepreneurial country in the whole of Africa. It's the only country that does these jobs. People just create jobs on their own. It doesn't matter how small it is, when someone is selling the paraffin, when someone is doing this, they just create any other thing. Ugandans are just creative. The government advises them to do that. But still, the government has not helped them enough. People have been doing self-employment for almost decades and decades, but why are they not successful? Try to create a market for them.
Yeah, you have to support. You have to be supported in some ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so the man has Museveni has been in power for, is it 35
years now.
So, and he still want to run the country.
He still needed.
So for you, somebody who has lived in Uganda, not just lived there, you grew up there.
I grew up there.
Okay, so you know well, or maybe you didn't know when you were young, but now you understand how things work.
Yeah.
Between democracy and dictatorship, where do you put him? Between his leadership, between democracy and dictatorship, where do you put him and why?
Museveni?
Yes. His leadership.
He is both.
Okay.
In his leadership.
Why do you say both?
Here's the one thing. You say people should vote. Okay? That's democracy. People have a right to vote their own leader.
Yeah.
That's democracy. But when it comes to vote, on a polling day, you put in some other people who will have, let me assume, this is one LOC, or maybe one village, has about 10,000 people.
Yeah.
But and it's known in the whole statistics of the country that this and this village has 10,000 people. But on polling day,
he gets 15,000.
You hear that this village had 40,000 people, then 30,000 have voted for President Museveni, 10,000 have voted for the opposition. What do you think is the trick behind? So the democracy is there, but now the tricks of stealing votes, that cannot make you, that's not more democracy now, it's turning to dictatorship. Two, people have right to campaign.
Yeah.
If when people are campaigning, for you making your campaigns successfully, so why do you mistreat your opposition? Why do you take them to the prison? Why do you set your police to come and attack them? Why do you let them sleep on the streets? You don't even allow them to have a hotel on their own money. During campaigns, it's the Electoral Commission that gives all the laws, not the president. Remember, their constitution says, like right now, when the campaign begins, you are not, the ruling president is no longer president right now. The Speaker of the Parliament should be the president. So who is President Museveni right now to make orders to the police?
Right. That's where we see the dictatorship.
So that's dictatorship. Like, here's the way how. Two, he has changed so many acts in the constitution. And there's so many changes he has made.
Like the age limit.
Yes. There's so many changes he has made. It's just helping him.
Just facilitating him to stay there, to clinch
So
there.
you've talked about the age limit. The constitution before used to say whoever is 75 years.
You cannot run.
You cannot run, you cannot become even a civil servant. You should go and retire. But because he saw he's about to turn, he keeps on saying, every term limit, he keeps on saying 70, 70, 70.
But isn't he like 83 now? Or 73?
Kind of, because he keeps on changing his age. So
it's unbelievable.
So right now, because he's 75,
Right.
so he changed it. He knew he was 70. So if he just said, at least the constitution should say there should not be age limit for the president, but the rest of the people should retire. That's why people had to fight in the parliament.
Yeah.
You remember? Then two, the constitution, how he changed it. At first, the constitution was saying another thing. He said that if the president, he was talking about the term limits.
Right.
The term limits were saying
2, 3.
Two limits. Two, like there were two terms.
Yeah.
But he says no. If the president still have the potential, let him keep on running. So there was a fight in the parliament. They still have to approve it. How did they do it? By the government just embezzles the member of parliaments, because for
bribed them.
Yeah, because before any law is passed,
They have to vote. Yeah.
the parliament has to accept the law to pass through, because the government knows the opposition leaders. There are so many in the parliament. How does he convince them? So what he does is giving them money, like billions and billions of money, increasing their salaries, and does good things, giving them expensive vehicles, building for them this, giving them medical insurance.
The money that would have built.
So these parliamentarians will be convinced. At the end, when they are being convinced, whatever President Museveni will say, they will have to pass it. After all, for them, they are good to satisfy their stomach. That's why Bobi Wine keeps on saying, we don't have parliament in Uganda. We only have scarecrow parliament.
Wow.
Yes. So I can put President Museveni that he is trying to show people that he's doing democracy, but by creating some restrictions of dictatorship within the democracy.
So do you think, like other people, they think elections in Uganda is just for formality? It's just to show the outside world that we are doing elections, democracy.
One thing I will inform you is on record, Ugandans have never got like free and fair elections. Two, Ugandans have never had peaceful transition of power.
Yeah.
Right now from 1962, when Uganda got its independence, it was like all the leaders, they were going through coups. Like coups after coups.
So the first elected one got overthrown by Idi Amin, and then Idi Amin
from 1962 to 1986, they never elected.
Yeah,
I mean to 1980.
You overthrow.
Because there are some presidents who only ruled for 48 days.
No, yeah.
Yeah. There are some presidents who ruled for over 24 hours and they got coups out. So there's other presidents who just ruled for 1 year and they got coups out. So Uganda has never got peaceful transition of power. Until President in 1980, there was election between President Museveni and Milton Obote. But Milton Obote won the election. This forced President Museveni to become a rebel, to rebel against the government. And that's how he started recruiting younger kids, taking them to the forest, training them, making them rebel. Like, that's how he started. And in 1985, he started fighting the government, and he won in 1986.
And you know, when you know, let's talk about this for a second. That's, you know, this is kind of the same story that happened in Congo, and it has happened in other countries too, where a guy would go in the forest and you know, you would wonder, where did they get the gun from? If you see somebody there, there's always somebody behind them to supply them with guns, supply them
I read one of Museveni's stories. He has his book on how he was getting, he could travel to Sweden and get some help from them. and I believe he had some other people who were helping him within the government.
And you tell them, hey, if I win, if I become president, here's what I'm going to give you.
The thing is, they sometimes these rebels attack the police and take their guns out of them. So he had different supports from other neighboring countries too, because he even lived in Tanzania for almost a year, for some good years, because he even graduated from Dar es Salaam University.
How about Museveni's family in very good positions in the government and other places, like his son in the army and his wife?
This is what the opposition people are fighting for. There is the so-called nepotism in the government.
Yeah.
So the government being nepotic, like they favor certain group of people and disfavor others.
So nepotism and tribalism.
Tribalism is there. Like in Uganda now, like when you look at all the ranks in the army, right out from the generals, which one is the highest rank?
I don't know that very good. But
generals, major generals, colonels, they are all coming from one group of people and one tribe.
Okay.
And the thing is, they are coming from the same village. And the thing
of the presidents.
The thing is, some of them fought with him in the bush. So now the problem is there are some people who have ruled, who have been in the army for about 40 years, 35 years, but they're still kadogos. They're still on the low level and they're still being ruled. But someone, look at the son, who was born, he never been even in the forest. He just graduated from here, I'm told, in the United States somewhere. Then from there,
put him up there.
He's being given a higher rank in the army. But the thing is, why has he
doesn't have the qualification?
He doesn't have a qualification. There are so many people who has experience. There are so many veterans who are just fighting on the street. There are so many people who have quit the army and they're still suffering. Their families are not getting anything. Why are they like this? And they're still getting a low salary. This is why Bobi Wine is coming up and is telling people, no, we need to change this. You people have to wake up. That's why the community has come up and they're like following what Bobi Wine is saying. They don't have now. They are not forgetting that Bobi Wine used to smoke or has a bad look or anything. They're just following what Bobi Wine is telling them, and people believe in him because they are seeing these things.
Okay, so from 1990, I'm looking at some election results from 1996 to 2016.
Yeah.
In 1996, Museveni won with 74%.
Yeah.
And the following was Paul Kawanga, I think.
Paul Kawanga.
And with 23% in 2001, Museveni won with 69, and Kizza Besigye with 27. The second one with 27. Museveni in 2006 won with 59%. Kizza Besigye with 37. Followed him with 37. 2011, Museveni with 28. The following one, Kizza with 26. And then in 2016, Museveni won again with 60. And Kizza Besigye the second with 35. If you look at these results, he's leaving his opponents very far. Is it that's just to make it impossible for them to even overturn the results in the court, or do you think the people actually vote him massively?
I'll be sure for you. The 1996 I can accept.
Okay.
And the 2001
because they didn't know him very well. They thought
by that time, I was by that time personally I'm also on opposition side. So President Museveni, people loved President Museveni for long. People were just they were just giving him votes for one thing. Peace, peace, peace. Became an excuse for the whole.
They were tired of the previous leaders. I think.
Yes, they were tired, and by that time, that generation he came with, it was our old mothers and other stuff. So they were encouraging us to vote the President Museveni.
Yeah.
So, but now there's something when things comes too much. When the opposition leaders come in 2011, I don't believe President Museveni won the elections. Depending on how the youth, they were opposing him all over the country. So, depending on how elections were, we are not free and fair, depending on how they designed the tricks of stealing these elections.
So he ended up remaining.
So he ended up winning them on a higher. Even today, recently, they were talking about a system called election polls, like about the polls, whereby they were talking about what percentage Honorable Kyagula and Sentamu is likely to get.
Okay.
The
Which is Bobi Wine.
Which is Bobi Wine and the President Museveni. So they were saying Museveni has 85%, and Bobi Wine has only, they were saying 17%, and the rest are below that. But
So-
that's not true. I mean, that's not true.
Wait.
You were just over-exaggerating.
You said Museveni is showing that Museveni might get what?
He may get 85% of the vote. Now, besides, the government introduced national IDs. The local people call it Endangamuntu,
What does it mean?
like ID.
Oh, okay, so that's
it's
an
just an
translation of
identity
ID.
card.
Okay.
So
What's the problem with it?
the thing is, there is this NINI number. You know, there's a number on ID. They call them NINI numbers. It's not like our IDs in here. These numbers, basically, like the government has set a law. You know, Ugandans are very, like, they never believed in having those IDs. They feel like it's nothing. It's just benefiting the government. So most people never wanted to get them.
Did they have like normal ID before? Is this an additional
No, they
ID
never
or?
had them.
Oh,
They never had any ID, maybe the passport, but not every Uganda has accessibility to passport.
like an identification card.
Yeah,
They
they
didn't
never
have it.
had it before.
Oh,
They just started processing the issue in around 2014.
it's like Congo. Congo don't have one.
Yeah, I believe
let's continue.
you.
What-
So, in around 2014, that's when they started this ID stuff.
What's the
And,
problem with it?
So Ugandans, they were like, these people are just playing on our heads. They design things because they want the money. So they will be saying billions and billions of
Went
money
to
have
this,
gone, went
okay.
to this. They're
Right.
just looking for the extras. So most of Ugandans never bothered. So right now he's setting a law and he says no one without national
ID.
ID should not vote.
Oh, no ID, no vote.
So when Kyagulani came in, he started telling people, you know what, get your ID. Then there's a common word he used in Uganda, webereremu, meaning get your ID and be by yourself. Like, get your ID and make sure you go to vote. So he's encouraging people to go and vote, basically. So most Ugandans, at least I'm told recently, like 75% of Ugandans have got IDs now because of the impact of Bobi Wine. So I guess this election is going to be something which we can now believe. Let's just wait on
Okay.
January 14th.
Okay, I want us to talk about Bobi Wine, but before we talk about Bobi Wine, Yoweri Museveni has led the country for that many years.
35 years.
I think in history of a lot of leaders in Africa let's just say Africa, most leaders, when a leader comes in power by force, when they overthrow somebody to become there, they don't live in peace. They want, unless they overthrown. So do you think that's probably why it's hard for Museveni to just leave power in peace and go and live?
Well,
and also, let me just finish this question. And also, some leaders, I think, they fear to be pursued in justice after leaving power, because if you know you've made a lot of mess, you know if you leave, the justice will call you, they will arrest you. Don't you think maybe that's why the man does not want to leave?
Well, first of all, he's using that one as an excuse. Whenever he comes, and today in his campaigns, whenever I follow him, he'll be saying, you know what, we came from far. We came from far. I even
You see,
passed,
that's what I'm saying.
I even passed in the corral of the bricks, which was flaming with the fire.
You see?
But we were in the forest fighting with the people in there just to liberate you from dictatorship.
See?
He uses that one a lot. But as the Constitution says, if someone has ruled, you don't have to blame him. Let him stay at home. That's their Constitution.
Yeah, but
I guess
you feel
ICC will come up.
he feels like I sacrificed a lot to get this. I'm not gonna give it away just like
But
this.
then, 35 years is enough for you. You sacrifice.
What does he even still say
Look.
in campaign after 35 years?
Look-
What does he
look at
still-
Nelson Mandela.
What is he still saying? What's his when he's campaigning? What is he promising?
He's
now?
still promising the same thing. I will create jobs. I will create 200 jobs. The same thing. He keeps on promising that, but that's a lie. He says he will create jobs. Tomorrow, I'll build more roads, electricity, I'll return lakes back to you. He keeps on promising that. Education will keep on being free, but it's not free. Right now, there are so many stuff people are paying. It's not free anymore.
So many fees,
additional fees on USCE and UPE students. So now, where is the fairness? He promises the same thing, and that's why people are tired of his promises.
He hasn't been able to do. So the same thing you haven't been able to do in 35 years. How do you think you're gonna do it now?
So it's just, I can say, it's just try to hoodwink, like covering people. Like he's trying to find ways. And recently, people who read presidency's manifestos, they said the hardest thing about President Museveni right now is making his manifesto, because people are tired of the same manifesto every time. Okay,
now let's talk about Bobi Wine for a minute. Robert Chagulanyi. That's his real name, but he's famously known by Bobi Wine.
Yeah.
So, Bobi Wine he has the leadership. He has the power to people listen to him.
Yeah.
So, but does that make him a presidential material? Does that make him worthy to become a president? What do you think?
I don't know why people think about presidential material. What should a presidential material be?
But does he have what it takes to rule a country like Uganda and take it somewhere?
Well, Chagulanyi always says it. He is not contesting just because he knows more politics. He is not contesting for president just because he knows he is a professor. He is not contesting because he fought, but he is contesting to represent what the local people want. And that's what people need. If in his manifesto, he talked about improving the welfare of people. You've ruled the country for 35 years, but you have like 85% of, 70% of Ugandans who can fail even to buy single salt. They still request their neighbors to get
salt and food.
Like people still, they don't have even a capacity to get their own money. They can't even accommodate.
It's still difficult for some people to provide themselves with basic needs.
Yeah. That's why most people are dropping out from school right now, because life is becoming harder and harder. So
somebody say you cannot study when the stomach is empty.
You got me. So now, so when you look at the health improvement, health of people, every single budget every year, they do pass like billions and billions of money to help the hospitals people. But when you go to the hospital,
nothing changes significantly. Right?
They will tell you, we don't have meds, just go buy them in the clinics.
They prescribe for you, but go and buy it yourself.
The prescription just takes you. They just take you to the pharmacy. The doctors, they can't even touch you. They tell you we don't have medicine.
Okay, but what makes Bobi Wine the perfect?
He is not perfect
for this though.
He is not perfect.
Or do Ugandans feel like, this man, we have had enough of this man, we need him out and try somebody else?
Well, the thing is, for some people to love you, they always look at your background. They always look what you did in the past. Bobi Wine has been raising up other people through music. Bobi Wine has been supporting some other people, orphans.
Yes, shown care for his people.
Like so, and whenever he moves on the street, it is the way how he helps some other street people. So, and beside this is a man who grew up in the ghetto. So he's a ghetto man, and he knows the struggle there. He knows the life there. Local people. So they believe now President Museveni and his cabinet, they have eaten whatever they have eaten. It's enough now. They don't care about these local other people. I will give you one example. I remember in 2018, there was a blockage of, there's some floods that came up and like
destroyed a lot of houses.
A lot of property got destroyed, and they messed up the whole area.
Bobi Wine came
Bobi Wine came and he was giving people like mattresses. He was giving people. So you see, there's another village. One of the villages around in the Uganda area, where he found people who were sleeping outside. People and he had to provide support with his wife.
But sometimes people do that, and when they become president, they don't do it anymore.
So when you look at, people just have hope in him
because of what he has done in the past.
What he did in the past, and what he's saying, he is the right person to trust. Maybe that's the thing.
So do you think today Bobi Wine is the face of the opposition?
Right now, Bobi Wine is the leading opposition right now Ugandans has. And
where does Besigye stands from?
Besigye did not contest. He's an FODC aspirant.
Okay.
But he did not stand. But he keeps on informing the public. He says, if Museveni wins this election again, he has a plan B.
Oh.
But we don't know what plan B he has.
Oh. That seems like threatening and maybe hope for the people.
Yeah, even Bobi Wine is saying the same thing too. He says,
enough is enough.
Enough is enough. No matter what, Museveni, you must go. If you cheat, or if we don't need you to become a president in 2021, no matter what. If anything happens, we have a plan B, but we don't know what plan B they have. We're just waiting.
Well, the campaign is still ongoing, and so I'm pretty sure we're going to come back to continue with more discussion.
Yeah.
Bashir, we are heading toward the end. I'm going to give you a few seconds to tell the audience whichever message you have. I mean, it's a custom for this segment, for this channel. At the end, I give my guests some seconds to tell the audience whatever they have. Yeah, whatever they have. Just a minute. Whatever they have to say. So, just in some seconds, that's your camera right there. You can pass your message and.
Yeah. Well, the audience, thank you for watching this today's interviews. It has been a short, but we're just discussing about the elections, as you guys have heard. And people don't mistake me. I'm not a Ugandan. I'm a Congolese, but I just got raised in Uganda as a refugee. But I have more experience about Ugandan politics as what is going on today. So I guess you people, you will enjoy the talk show. And if you have a question down there, please ask in the comments. And we shall, in the next interview, we shall have to answer all those questions. So as per now, I sign out.
So ladies and gents, thanks for watching this segment of Face to Face.
Yeah.
This is the end. May God be with us. May God protect us. And we are still together.